It appears as if we're watching the not-so-decline of American economic freedom in real time. I mean, right in front of our faces. The numbers bear this out, folks. Every year, there's a think tank called the Fraser Institute, and they release a report on the economic freedom of the world in which they rank countries accordingly. Now, this report measures economic freedom using a lot of factors, including size of government, respect for property rights, freedom to trade, monetary policy, and regulation. Now, you and I being red-blooded Americans, we think that America would be number one at the top of that list with a bullet, as she surely has been down throughout the past couple of centuries, well, mostly, and the past century for sure at least. But no, as a matter of fact, we just lost our spot in sixth place from last year, and we're now at seventh in the world. Seventh. We're currently behind Hong Kong, Singapore, Switzerland, New Zealand, Denmark, and freaking Australia. And as if that wasn't enough to curl your toes and make your hair fall out, the numbers show that it's actually a lot worse than that, because the reason we only fell one spot down is that the rest of the world has fallen precipitously over the past couple of years as well. Ever since the Flu Manchu got its moment in the spotlight, countries all around the world have become severely less economically free. If our rate of declination was to be in a vacuum, in other words, if we had experienced a decline over the past 2 years and the rest of the world had just carried on as normal, we would be 20th on the list of economically free countries. Let that sink in. That's not just outrageous, it's absolutely unacceptable. Now, I know that I shout the praises of the orange man, Donald Trump, and his administration from the rooftops pretty often on this show or wherever my social media takes me. But the current administration leaves me no choice. Before this band of idiots got into power, we were crushing it in terms of building back American economic freedom. We didn't just have a booming economy before the pandemic. We had an administration in general and a president in particular who understood the value of things like deregulation within the American market. We had a long way to go, as the evidence of this report over the years suggests, but by God, we were making massive strides in the right direction. And now, where are we? We're heading down the ladder. It headed almost like to a second or third world status thanks to the machinations of Biden and his friends. I mean, here's the silver lining. Even the Democrats must have some dim understanding of what this president is doing to this country. Otherwise, his polls wouldn't be so consistently in the toilet, even on their side of the aisle. As bad as the woke contingency of the Democratic Party is, and as loud as they are in our politics, they don't by any means represent the majority of Democratic voters. In other words, even Democrats, by and large, are concerned with the shit show this economy has become just in the past 2 years and the past year in particular. Now, I'm not breathing that huge sigh of relief yet when it comes down to these clowns leaving office. November is coming up, and the greatest thing we could hope for would be to turn Joe Biden into a lame duck for the next 2.5 years. But I never underestimate the power of Republicans to screw things up. I am determined, though, and you should be too. It's time for us to rise up and become the leaders of the free world once again. It's a position we fought and paid for, and the world truly does need us to be doing it right. We Americans truly are the rising tide that lifts all boats, and we've got to stop sleeping on the job.
Amen.
CJ and I, we've been doing that series of videos, Make Me a Sandwich, mostly to piss off the feminists, but I like sandwiches. And so we made a bologna sandwich, a Joe bologna sandwich. It's on my YouTube channel, it's on my Facebooks, it's on my Instagrams, all that kind of stuff. We're having fun with it. And but again, the whole point of that video was, well, we can't afford a fancy sandwich. We've got to make a Joe bologna sandwich.